Great Pyramid of Giza is a marvel of architecture.
The Great Pyramid of Giza covers 13 acres. It's a very remarkable building.
That the true purpose of the massive structure was to act as a power plant.
Inside the Great Pyramid are a number of fascinating chambers and corridors.
What if everything you've heard about the Great Pyramid is a lie? What if Egypt's most famous monument was never a tomb,
That the Great Pyramid was built as a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu.
but a machine so advanced that it still confuses scientists and terrifies governments? Something ancient is buried beneath the sands of Egypt, waiting to wake the world. The Great Pyramid, for centuries called a tomb, may be nothing of the sort. Its stones whisper of forgotten machines and lost technologies. Recent discoveries reveal chambers with no bodies, shafts that align with stars, and engineering that shames the modern world. Are you ready to see the evidence that changes everything we know about the ancient world? The blueprint under the sand. Morning light glides across the Giza plateau, revealing a landscape that has witnessed the rise and fall of empires.
Today, the Giza Plateau sits on the edge of modern-day Cairo.
Yet nothing on this earth commands the silence of the Great Pyramid. There are countless wonders in the world, but the Great Pyramid refuses to explain itself. Most monuments tell their stories through statues, carvings, or inscriptions, but the Great Pyramid offers none of that. There is only the geometry of stone, the echo of steps in empty corridors, and a shadow that stretches over 5,000 years. The question that has haunted every visitor since the day the first stone was set is simple but unsolved. Why does this structure defy every expectation? No matter how many times experts try to explain it, the pyramid continues to whisper secrets no one can quite hear. The location is the first mystery. On a map of the world's landmasses, the pyramid occupies the point where the longest stretch of land, east to west, meets the longest stretch north to south. This is not luck or a happy accident. Whoever chose this site had a vision that went beyond the Egyptian desert. They selected the geographic heart of the planet's continents, a place where lines drawn from all corners of the Earth would meet. Today, with satellites and computers, we might calculate such a spot, but the builders of Giza had nothing of the sort, at least according to what we know. They measured the world by starlight, shadow, and something we have not yet rediscovered. The pyramid's sides face true north with a margin of error so small that it would be impressive for a skyscraper today. Yet this was built in an era that supposedly knew nothing of compasses or longitude. The entire monument is locked to the planet itself, as if its creators wanted it to stand not only as a building, but as a marker, a signature, an axis around which the story of the world would one day turn. Inside, the confusion deepens. The halls are cool, silent, and empty. There are no paintings or hieroglyphs that shout of kings or gods, no treasures gleaming in the dark. The walls are bare, but the silence is not empty. Instead, it feels deliberate, as if the absence of writing is itself a message. All the other tombs in Egypt overflow with names, spells, instructions for the dead. The Great Pyramid refuses to explain itself with words. The chambers are shaped with a precision that seems unnecessary for a tomb, but essential for a device. Angles are crisp, surfaces are smooth, and the air in the central chambers feels charged, as if the stone remembers something no one else does. Consider the stonework itself. 2,300,000 blocks form the mass of the pyramid, most weighing at least 2.5 tons, some closer to 80 tons. These are not local stones stacked by chance. The granite used in key areas was hauled from hundreds of miles away, dragged over desert and river, shaped and set so tightly that not even a slip of paper fits between them. This is engineering of a type that modern architects struggle to achieve with cranes and lasers. The outer casing, now mostly stripped away, was once smooth, gleaming white limestone, polished until the entire structure would have shone like a mirror in the desert sun. To accomplish this with copper chisels and stone hammers, the only tools allowed by conventional history, strains belief. The stones do not bear the rough scars of brute force, but the smooth confidence of knowledge. Each joint, each surface, each line is perfect, beyond the needs of a tomb, but exactly what you would require if you wanted to channel energy, vibration, or something else we do not yet recognize. Beneath the pyramid, the mysteries grow. Deep underground, the Osiris shaft plunges through more than 100 feet of rock. It is a straight vertical descent, narrow and relentless. There are no stairs, no handholds, nothing to ease the journey, yet at the bottom rest sarcophagi carved from granite and diorite, each one larger and heavier than anything found above ground. The granite boxes are not just impressive, they are baffling. One, in particular, is made of dysite, a material not native to Africa, raising questions about trade, transport, and technology that no historian has answered. At the lowest level of the shaft, water still pools, fed by a channel cut into the bedrock. This is not the accidental flooding of a forgotten grave. The water is clear, steady, and contained. The channel was engineered, its purpose mysterious, its function not revealed by any known religious practice. Outside, the surface evidence refuses to stay quiet. Scattered around the base of the pyramid are slabs of basalt, a volcanic stone not found locally, each one marked with grooves too straight and too deep for ancient hand tools. Modern engineers have examined these marks and concluded that only machines with rotating blades, applying consistent pressure, could have produced them. Some stones show not just straight cuts, but curved slices, as if shaped by industrial saws of immense diameter. On other blocks, veins of granite appear melted and then solidified, a feat that requires heat well beyond the reach of fire pits or kilns. The scorching is precise, the patterns repeat, and there is no sign of accidental burning. If the Great Pyramid and its surroundings are a cemetery, then it is a cemetery shaped by forces and technologies not found anywhere else in the ancient world. The geometry of the pyramid offers more puzzles. The three largest pyramids at Giza mirror the alignment of the stars in Orion's belt. When those stars last lined up exactly with the pyramids on the ground, it was over 12,000 years ago, long before the accepted start of Egyptian civilization. This suggests the possibility that the pyramids either record an astronomical event no one else cared to mark, or that their construction dates from a time far earlier than what we believe. The silence of the historical record becomes deafening. Egyptians chronicled everything. Their annals, lists, and carvings leave no detail unrecorded, except how the pyramids came to be. There is no scroll, no wall, no story that tells us how these wonders were raised. This is not an oversight. It feels like a secret. The pyramid's passages add to the enigma. Shafts angle upward, aligning with stars, and descend below the sand, moving not toward burials but to places where water and stone meet. The central chamber, cut from granite, is so smooth and precise that it has been compared to the work of lasers. When struck, the stone boxes ring with a sound, a resonance that lingers in the air. This is not an accident. Ancient engineers seem to have been playing with vibration and frequency, using the properties of the stone in ways modern physicists are only beginning to investigate. Elsewhere on the plateau, beneath Saqqara, lie the granite boxes of the Serapeum. Each one was carved from a single block of stone, so large and so perfect that the mechanics of moving and shaping them baffle modern builders. Their corners are sharp, their interiors smooth, their lids so precise they seal with a vacuum. When tapped, these boxes sing, their sound echoing in the darkness like the hum of a forgotten engine. No other civilization, before or since, left boxes like these. No written explanation accompanies them, just the silent certainty that they were made for something beyond storage or ritual. As the sun sets behind the pyramid and the last rays gild the stones, the monument remains unyielding, silent, and unread. The evidence accumulates, but the questions multiply.
Visitors to this land must have just looked and wondered, and they probably asked the same question we ask today. How did they do it?
The Great Pyramid refuses to reveal itself as a simple tomb or an empty symbol. Every stone, every shaft, every channel and echo suggests a different story, one of purpose, design, and function lost to time. If this structure is a machine, a generator, or a message, then what was it built to do? And who were its true builders? When the night falls, the pyramid's shadow lengthens not just over the sand, but over our understanding of the past. The answers are there, carved in stone and written in silence, waiting for someone to read them without fear. What happens when the world is finally ready to accept that the pyramid's greatest secret is not how it was built, but why? Machines in stone. As twilight cools the Giza air, the pyramid's shadow stretches over the sand, and new questions wake beneath the silence. The closer you look, the more the stones seem to push back against every easy explanation. You begin to notice details that do not belong in the story of a simple tomb. You see surfaces shaped with a confidence that feels almost modern. You see evidence not of death, but of industry, as if someone once built a structure meant to move, to resonate, or to generate something powerful beneath the desert sky. Take a closer look at the basalt blocks scattered at the base of the Great Pyramid. Most visitors walk past them without a second thought, but their story is written in deep, perfect grooves that run straight and true. These lines are not scratches from a cart or wind-carved scars. They are too regular, too deliberate, too uniform to be the work of accident or erosion. When engineers studied these marks, they found something strange. The grooves match the pattern of a rotating blade, not a hand tool. They do not wander or skip. They are parallel, consistent, and precise. Ancient Egyptian copper chisels, the tools offered by textbooks, would simply bounce off basalt. The rock is too hard. The lines are too clean. This is not guesswork. This is engineering that demands more than patience. It demands technology. The mystery deepens in the marks left behind on other stones. Curved cuts, wide arcs, and slices that resemble the work of massive saws appear on granite and basalt throughout the plateau. These cuts do not match the shape or method of any known ancient tool. They are the footprints of something rotating, steady, powerful, and persistent. In modern terms, you would expect such marks from a diamond-tipped industrial blade, not a bronze or copper tool wielded by hand. The stones are not just shaped, they are machined. It is as if the builders understood forces, friction, and speed with a clarity lost to us for thousands of years. Move further from the sun, and the clues get hotter. In several channels cut into the stone around the pyramid, traces of melted granite appear like ribbons of frozen fire. These are not the byproduct of accidents or erosion. To melt granite, you need temperatures that exceed 2,000 degrees Celsius, far hotter than any wood or coal fire. The lines of molten rock follow the channels in a way that suggests control, not chaos. The pattern repeats. The color changes from deep red to black, shifting as the rock cooled under unnatural conditions. Some researchers believe these are remnants of a process meant to fuse or insulate the stone, perhaps as part of a system designed to transmit energy or vibration. There is no parallel for this in ancient Egypt. No workshop, no kiln, no hearth capable of such feats. The evidence is not ambiguous. It points to a lost knowledge, a forgotten command over the very properties of matter. Inside the pyramid, the strangeness only multiplies. In the so-called King's Chamber, the granite is cut so perfectly that the chamber resonates with a deep, low frequency when disturbed. Tap the walls, and a tone hums through the air, as if the room itself was designed to amplify and shape sound. Engineers and musicians alike have tested these acoustics. They find patterns that are anything but random. The room seems tuned, like a giant instrument or a resonator built to vibrate at a precise pitch. If the purpose was simply to house a coffin, why build with such intent? Why shape the stone to sing with the voice of the earth? The walls are smooth, the corners sharp, and the air itself feels dense, almost electric. Beneath the pyramid lies the Osiris shaft, a vertical passage that drops more than 100 feet into the ground. Descending into the darkness, you find sarcophagi of granite and diorite, some weighing more than 30 tons, resting on stone floors where water flows clear and silent. There are no stairs, no ramps, nothing to ease the lowering of such massive stones. The chamber at the bottom is encircled by a man-made canal that still holds water, millennia after its creation. The engineering is precise. The water level stays constant. unaffected by the dry heat above. Whoever carved these spaces was not improvising. They were following a blueprint, one that called for the fusion of stone and water in a way that no burial ritual explains. If these were coffins, why make them from the hardest, rarest stone? Why bring them so far? Why lower them so deep? And why surround them with water that never fades? Elsewhere on the Giza Plateau, evidence of heat is etched into the stones. Certain blocks bear the marks of scorching, as if exposed to intense flames or directed energy. The burns are not random. They form patterns, blackened and crisp, repeated across multiple sites. In one chamber, a visible ribbon of melted granite curves across the face of a block, like the trace of a welding torch frozen in time. These signs do not speak of ceremony or mourning. They speak of industry, of a process so advanced that it leaves behind clues we barely recognize. Step into the underground tunnels of the Serapeum at Saqqara, and the riddle deepens. More than 20 granite boxes wait in the darkness, each carved from a single massive block, each weighing close to 70 tons. Their interiors are smooth, their corners exact, their lids fitting so perfectly that they create a vacuum seal. The stone sings when struck, the vibration lingering in the air. The purpose of these boxes is lost, but their design hints at function. Some researchers believe they were meant to store or manipulate energy, not to entomb the dead. The tunnels that house them twist and narrow, making it almost impossible to imagine how the stones were placed without technology capable of lifting and lowering such weight with total control. Even the lighting in these spaces raises questions. There are no torch marks, no soot on the ceiling, no evidence of fire ever used underground, yet the work is flawless, symmetrical, and complete. Mainstream archaeologists offer explanations rooted in tradition and patience, but the evidence grows heavier with each discovery. The marks in the stone, the resonant chambers, the precision of the granite boxes, and the manipulation of water all point toward a knowledge that does not fit the timeline of copper tools and wooden sleds. These are not the products of trial and error or slow refinement. They are the signature of a science we have forgotten. The Great Pyramid's alignment with the stars adds one more layer to the puzzle. The structure mirrors Orion's belt with a degree of accuracy that matches the sky 12,000 years ago. This is not a coincidence. The builders knew the heavens. They designed the pyramid to lock into a celestial calendar, marking time in a way that transcends the dynasties of Egypt. The absence of any written record describing the pyramid's construction or true purpose is now more than a curiosity. It is a warning. The silence is deliberate. The secret is protected, hidden not in words but in stone and resonance. As you leave the plateau and the sun sinks below the horizon, you cannot escape the feeling that something inhuman sleeps beneath the sand, waiting for someone to ask the right questions. The Great Pyramid refuses to play the role assigned to it by history. Every chamber, every tunnel, every stone block and secret groove is a fingerprint of a forgotten machine, not a tomb. The evidence is there, waiting, challenging us to recognize what has always been in plain sight. What if the stones could speak? And what if their story is nothing like the one we have been told? What if the answers lie just beyond our reach, beneath the sand, beneath the silence, waiting for us to finally see what has always been hidden? Forbidden technology. For every visitor who accepts the official narrative of tombs and rituals, there are others who look closer and see something entirely different. Signs of lost technology, evidence of purpose, and a sense that history has been carefully edited to keep the truth from surfacing. The more you study the structure, the less it feels like a monument to the dead, and the more it feels like a blueprint for a machine. The signs are everywhere, but the stories are always just out of reach. Deep below the sand, explorers and researchers have uncovered a network of tunnels and chambers that stretch far beyond what tourists see. Some corridors have been mapped, others remain sealed or flooded, their contents only guessed at from ground-penetrating radar scans and half-forgotten records. In the early 20th century, a series of shafts and pits were discovered not just around the Great Pyramid, but under other ruins nearby, such as the mysterious Zoet El Arian. a site now hidden beneath a military installation and completely off limits. Decades ago, workers there found polished granite pits, channels that once carried water, and a vast tank lined with pink granite and sealed with lime and clay. A powerful storm in 1905 filled the pit with rain, and the water vanished almost overnight, draining into the earth as if pulled by unseen hands. Early researchers suspected a system of underground channels still connected to something greater, possibly to the pyramid itself. Before they could finish their work, war and secrecy intervened. Now the site is sealed, guarded, and erased from public maps. Such closures are not unique. At key moments in modern history, authorities have blocked access to other shafts, tunnels, and deep chambers beneath Giza, always citing preservation or safety. Yet each closure seems to coincide with a new theory gaining popularity, or with a technological find that does not fit the accepted story. After the robotic probe in 1993 discovered a door deep in a shaft known as the Queen's Chamber, a media storm followed. The door was no simple stone, but a panel fitted with copper handles, sealed with purpose. For years, no one was allowed to explore further. Only in 2011 did researchers drill through and find a hidden space beyond, filled not with treasures or mummies, but with copper fixtures and strange symbols painted on the floor. The patterns did not match any known Egyptian script. To some, they resembled the layout of electrical circuits or instructions for assembly, but the government offered no further explanation. For those who saw the images, the message was clear. Whatever lay behind that door, it was not meant for ritual or death. It was meant to be used. Elsewhere, other researchers turned to the pyramid's chambers and the so-called water pump theory.
If the Great Pyramid really was an enormous water pump, then it must have been pumping the water somewhere.
In 1962, Edward Kunkel first proposed that the Great Pyramid was not a tomb, but an enormous hydraulic machine, designed to move water using nothing but pressure and gravity. He believed the narrow shafts, sloped corridors, and sealed compartments acted together as a ram pump, channeling water from underground sources and using the energy of flow to pressurize the interior. Mainstream Egyptology dismissed his ideas, but some engineers paid closer attention. The shape of the subterranean chamber, the orientation of its walls, and the worn marks on its ceiling all resembled the effects seen in working hydraulic pumps, specifically the signs of cavitation, where bubbles form and collapse in violently moving water. A few bold researchers even built working models. After multiple failures, one model finally succeeded, pulsing with a wave that traveled through the concrete and into the ground, echoing what might have once beat beneath the sands of Giza. The implications of a working water pump beneath the pyramid are staggering. The Giza Plateau sits above the Nile and near the ancient Lake Moeris, both once at higher elevations. With such a system, the pyramid could have pressurized and pumped water for irrigation, storage, or even for use in other machines. The vast amount of labor and material begins to make sense, not for a single burial, but for a vital public utility, a piece of infrastructure meant to support a civilization. Suddenly, the question shifts from who built the pyramid to what were they trying to power or preserve. These ideas gained a new urgency with the research of John Cadman, a marine engineer and expert in hydraulics. In the 1990s, Cadman analyzed the marks and shapes inside the subterranean chamber and recognized them from his work in fluid dynamics. The pattern of wear, the orientation of the stone, and the echoes in the chamber suggested violent water movement, not ceremonial use. Cadman's experiments showed that the pyramid could have operated as a resonator, generating both pressure and vibration. When he combined these findings with the properties of the granite used in the king's chamber,
blocks on the roof of the king's chamber weigh 70 tons each.
Granite known to generate an electric charge under stress, the pieces began to fit together. The pyramid may have been designed to turn water and vibration into energy, possibly even electricity. This theory is not as wild as it first appears. In the early 20th century, Nikola Tesla, the legendary inventor, designed and patented a system for transmitting wireless energy using resonant towers. His designs closely resemble the layout of the Great Pyramid, including a conductive capstone and a system of insulators and conductors. The materials used in the pyramid, outer Tura limestone as an insulator, inner granite as a conductor, and a gold capstone at the summit, match the design logic of modern electrical systems. Each element seems chosen for its ability to control, channel, and store energy. The pyramid's location now takes on even more meaning. It sits on natural underground aquifers, drawing water up through channels cut in the bedrock. The shafts in the structure align not just with stars, but with known points of energy flow, as if the builders were mapping the currents of the Earth itself. The geometry is perfect, the resonance engineered, the purpose no longer ceremonial but functional. Yet if the Great Pyramid was built to generate or control energy, where did this knowledge come from? The ancient Egyptians were meticulous record keepers, chronicling every harvest, every flood, and every offering to the gods. Yet there is no mention of the pyramid's construction, no story of its engineering, and no instruction for its use. The silence is intentional. It feels as though the Egyptians inherited the monument, preserved it, and perhaps even used it, but never fully understood it or claimed credit for its creation. This leads to an even greater mystery. Who built the pyramid, and why was their knowledge lost? Some point to evidence of a lost civilization, a people whose achievements surpassed even those of the pharaohs. Their fingerprints appear not only in Egypt, but around the world. In the mortarless walls of Peru, the monoliths of Baalbek, and the sunken ruins off Japan. These sites share techniques and patterns that should not exist in isolation. The similarities hint at a network of ancient builders, masters of stone, vibration, water, and energy. When catastrophe struck, flood, fire, or some other calamity, the knowledge faded, leaving only stone as a record of their genius. As interest in these theories has grown, so too have efforts to restrict access to key sites. Military installations now cover important ruins, and new discoveries are often met with silence or dismissal from official sources. Some believe this is about preservation, but others see it as an effort to control information. If the true purpose of the pyramid were ever revealed, the implications would be world-changing. Not only would history need to be rewritten, but the balance of knowledge and power might shift in ways no one can predict. In the end, the Great Pyramid endures as both a monument and a mystery. Its stones hold the memory of an age when humanity may have harnessed forces now lost to time. The evidence accumulates, from melted granite to resonant chambers to sealed doors that hide the last pieces of a forgotten blueprint. The story is no longer just about Egypt or the pharaohs. It is about all of us, and the question of what humanity once knew and might one day rediscover. As you stand before the pyramid at midnight, the air heavy with possibility, you sense that the answer is close, closer than ever before. What if the key to our future lies buried not in gold or treasure, but in the understanding of a machine built to last beyond memory? What if the next great discovery is not hidden in the sand, but waiting in plain sight? Its secret finally ready to return, the secret that refuses to die. What began as a monument to a king now looks more like a vault for something deeper, a knowledge or power that was never meant to be ordinary. The evidence speaks not of ritual or death, but of resonance, energy, and intent. Water channels carved with purpose, stones fitted to transmit vibration, materials chosen for properties known only to modern science. The more researchers uncover, the clearer it becomes that the Great Pyramid was never just a tomb, but a device built to harness the world itself. Mystery lingers in every sealed shaft and unexplored tunnel. Whispers of lost civilizations grow louder, echoing through academic halls and underground forums alike. There are new questions now. Was the pyramid designed to light a city, irrigate a desert, or signal the stars? Did it serve as a beacon, a battery, or a sanctuary for wisdom lost to history? And if the knowledge is buried beneath centuries of sand, why are so many doors still locked and guarded? Perhaps that is the greatest twist of all. The Great Pyramid may have succeeded in its purpose not by preserving a body, but by keeping its true secret alive through time. It has forced every generation to wonder, to dig, to doubt the stories written by those in power. With each new discovery, the story grows bigger. Every unexplained groove, every sealed chamber, every block too perfect for its era is another clue that the world we think we know is only a small piece of a much greater puzzle. If a machine sleeps beneath the oldest stones, then the story of civilization must be rewritten. The power to change the world might still be waiting, humming quietly beneath the sand, waiting for someone willing to listen. So what would you do if you were the first to find the switch? Would you use it? Would you reveal it? Or would you, like the ancient builders, hide it away for the next age, waiting for a time when the world is finally ready? The Great Pyramid is not finished with us. Its secrets are only just beginning to surface. In every shadow and every unanswered question lies the promise of a discovery that could change everything we know about our past, our power, and ourselves. So the next time you see those ancient stones rising from the sand, remember, some legends refuse to die because the truth is too powerful to bury. If you want to join the search for lost knowledge and the real story behind history's greatest mysteries, subscribe, share your theories in the comments, and stay curious. Because one day, someone will dig deep enough and nothing will ever be the same.